It only took me 9 months, but I finally finished a fact video on Tears of the Kingdom. Actually, nope, never mind, that's 10 months. Oh gosh, this is taking forever. So without any more delay, here are 16 suspicious facts that'll make you question how reality works in Hyrule. Number 1. I used to believe that pebblets were just sentient rocks, but I'm starting to doubt that conclusion. That's because if pebblets come into contact with thorns, they will weirdly take damage, which if done enough times, can in fact kill them. No bludgeoning weapons needed. And what's more, any thorn-like object will do the exact same thing, even these metal Yiga spikes. What on earth does this mean for the anatomy of the pebblet? Do they have a soft outer shell, or are they actually made of rocks? I don't know anymore. Regardless, thank you to Dark Ninja 147 for sharing that fact on Reddit. Number 2. Speaking of anatomy, VG_Crimson pointed out that style horses can float on water, which, if you know real life bones, they're not supposed to do that. Bones don't float. Yet in Hyrule, it appears that bones are handled differently. Oh, okay, that horse is going way too far. Hey, buddy, get back here! What? Number 3. The same thing goes for style noxes, which you can test for yourself in the tunnels leading from Lookout Landing to Hyrule Castle. Number 4. There is a mysterious glitch in both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom that freezes the player's camera in a single location. Seems pretty cool, but the reason it's mysterious is because nobody knows how to summon the glitch. It happens randomly to users who play on a Switch Lite with motion controls enabled. And once the bug starts, it can only be fixed by powering your console off and on again. Yet, despite being a nuisance to most players, I would love to be able to get my hands on this glitch, because it ends up being pretty handy for cinematography. Cuckoos are smarter than you think. Phil's Exists on Reddit discovered that if you bring a cuckoo to a Yiga ambush location, then the cuckoo will freak out, warning you that there's a trap nearby. Link, no! We've gone over this a million times, Link. You need to stop touching bananas on the ground. Yeah. Number 6. Puff shroom smoke is surprisingly tangible in Tears of the Kingdom. If a puff shroom explodes over midair, it will slowly start falling down. It's just a really slow effect, so most people never notice it. This also helps you see how each part of the cloud of smoke is separate, allowing for this kind of interaction to happen. Thank you to Independent Change 58 for sharing that fact on Reddit. Number 7. Despite being an over 10,000-year-old civilization, the Zonai are not very good at making their technology last. As documented by the Hyrule Engineering Discord server, the majority of Zonai parts can despawn if left running for too long. This includes obvious examples like the hot air balloon and wings, which have a very short lifespan, but it also includes some items you wouldn't expect, such as fans, hydrants, stabilizers, all the emitters, cannons, and lasers, hover stones, mirrors, homing carts, construction heads, lights, and even wheels. All of these items have a 30-minute timer that ticks down every second that they are active. Then, once those 30 minutes pass, they are dunzos. I wouldn't even be surprised if this was your first time seeing them despawn, because honestly, it's very rare that you'll use any of them for that long.
Small editor's note.
This hydrant and mirror didn't despawn because they weren't active the entire time, so I had to use them a bit longer, but as you can see, they did in fact despawn, and if you added up all the time that they were active, it would in fact read as 30 minutes. On the other hand, that beam emitter, I did not finish testing that thing. I completely forgot about it. So unfortunately, I don't have footage of it, but it would despawn if you had kept it going for 30 minutes. Number 8. Sure. Yeah. Okay, that was cool. What? How did you even find this video? It's from a Japanese YouTuber.
日本語喋れますよ。
Number 9. Bees have some really cool uses in Tears of the Kingdom. Because they count as a hostile mob, you could use them to direct Zonai machines to attack a specific target. Or if you're clever, you can also fire things away from bees by using a backwards construct head. But arguably, much more interesting is what happens when you're not looking at them. When bees are not being watched, they have an incredible amount of mass. For instance, normally if we fire a beehive into a parachute like this, nothing happens. Predictable. But if we face away from the bees, now look what happens. Suddenly, the build is staying afloat. Nobody's quite sure why this happens, but the community has dubbed them quantum bees because they behave differently when you're not looking at them. Big shout out to CS16 on Discord, who gave me tips for how to research quantum bees. Number 10. You can create infinite amounts of steam during rainstorms by placing a bundle of wood on a large object and then covering the fire from the rain. For this example, we'll be using the heaviest object in Tears of the Kingdom, which we discovered from this video. As you can see, the fire is raging, but because the structure is wet, the fire doesn't actually burn anything. So the structure gets stuck in an endless loop of trying to dry itself off and then get wet again. Is it helpful? No, but it does look cool. Number 11. Here's one which you will never be able to unsee. Probably due to Link's new hair model, you can see his hair clip through the climber's bandana in the menus of the game. It's most notable on the dyed versions of the hat, which contrast with Link's hair. In my headcanon, I like to imagine that Link got this hole after getting into a fight with a few Bokos, probably Bark and Bite after they stole his house. Freaking Bokos stealing my houses. If you freeze an enemy with stuff in their backpack, it shows that everything is frozen. Now, naturally, this might make you think that all their items are also frozen to their body, so you cannot steal them, but the opposite is true. Using this technique, you can straight up rob Bokos while they are stuck in the ice. That way you can steal all their juicy meat.
Bonus fact.
I was goofing around in one of the blessing shrines and noticed that you can absolutely make ice platforms with these rinky-dink waterfalls. It doesn't warrant a full fact on the list, but I still thought it was funny. Number 13. Ooh, this one's about bees as well. For some reason, bees are weak to wind. As shared with me by Zelda enthusiast Brianna Drew, you can use this weakness of bees to easily disperse them without the need for violence. Puff shroom smoke is also surprisingly effective. And fire, but if you use fire, then you gotta be quick, otherwise you might lose the honey and it'll get burnt in the flames. Number 14. When you fuse an object to a weapon, it retains the same falling sounds as before it was fused. Take for example this box. If we fuse it to a weapon and then drop it, it'll still bang around like it's a full-sized metal box. Another comically loud sound is that of the Gloom Boulder from the Goma fight. I'm also quite partial to the sound from the Korok pots, because normally we don't get to hear that sound very often. They're shaped like acorns? I'm noticing this while recording. What? I never put 2 and 2 together. That is so freaking cute. Number 15. If you finish a monster coliseum and place a travel medallion inside of one of the rooms, then when the next blood moon occurs and all the monsters respawn, you can enter that room with the monsters alone. The only issue is you can't interact with them. You're really nothing more than a ghost and are unable to kill them. However, objects in their vicinity can harm them, so they're not invincible. This fact comes to you from Nerd Wisdom on Discord. Number 16. This might be the last fact on the list, but if you subscribe, there will be plenty more Zelda facts on the way in the future. Anyways, recall is one of the least understood abilities in Tears of the Kingdom, and chief among the things that people just don't understand is the time limit. Many players assume that recall can only remember things that happened recently, but in actuality, as long as an object stands still, it can recall its movement forever. For example, when I move this barrel and then set it back down, if I wait 30 minutes and use recall, it will still remember the movement of that barrel 30 minutes later. That's freaking wild! It also has no distance limit. As long as you can see the object, you can recall it. And that's 16 suspicious facts about The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I implore you to click the like button if the video was likable. And if you want to suggest a fact for any of the future videos, I have my contact information in the description below. Or, importantly, if you would like to help support the channel monetarily, you can leave a $1 tip each month using the join button on YouTube. I was able to use the tips from last month to buy a noise isolator, which fixed a ton of my audio issues on an important video which I'm currently editing. So, if you can spare it, I would appreciate it. And until I see you next time, have fun storming the castle.